Hi, I'm Dr. Lyndon Walker. The following video is part of my SkillShare course, Getting Started with R. Here behind me you can see the various different chapters of the SkillShare course. You can click on the link below the video to take you to the SkillShare course, and you'll be able to download the data that I use in this video and work along with it. In this section we will look at how to download and install R and RStudio. R is the basic statistical software package. RStudio is an interface that gives us a whole lot of menus and the ability to work with R in a much more powerful but also user-friendly fashion. Once we've installed both programs, I will give you a short tour of RStudio, showing you some of the basic things that you see in the various windows. Here we are on the R project website. This is where we come to download R. So we can either click on download R, or on the left here we can click on download CRAN. CRAN just gives us options of different servers, and you can pick one in your country, but ultimately it shouldn't make too much difference. This will take you to a screen where you can choose which operating system. So we have Linux, Mac and Windows. I'm going to be using Windows. But the process should be pretty similar. So we want to then choose install R for the first time, and at the top download R, and in this case 4.1.0 for Windows. So over time this will get updated. You can see at the moment it's about 85 megs. It's a pretty quick download. And once we've downloaded it, it's an exe file. We double click and we run the executable. It's going to give us a few different options to choose from in the install screens. So the first is the language. So select the language we wish to use. Then we can click next through the public license, just saying that it is free and open source. And then we can choose our destination where we want to install our files. On this screen, easiest to just leave everything ticked. The files are so small it doesn't really matter, and then we can accept the defaults on this screen as well. When you're an advanced user there may be things you want to change, but nothing too substantial. So just keeping all the defaults, choosing start menu. If you would like a desktop shortcut, although I would probably advise against it because we'll be using RStudio in order to run R. So we won't really need to launch it by itself. So then we set it going, and we can see it installs pretty quickly. I've skipped a little bit of it. And if we open up R, we see something that looks like this. You can see it's very basic, and it's just got this command prompt here for typing in commands. And this is exactly why we want RStudio to give us some menus and options. So if we follow this URL, rstudio.com/products/rstudio/downloads, and if we come down, we're interested in the RStudio desktop, which is free. The other licenses there are commercial. And we've got the button there, download for Windows. If we're a Mac or Linux user, we've got options for those listed below, but we are going to be doing the Windows. So we will click and download the file. And this one is going to be a little bit more straightforward than the R one. Basically the only options that it asks you about is where you need to install it. So RStudio is going to give us a much nicer interface for us to be able to work with R. So we'll double click and we will do the install. I will skip through a little bit of it, and then we will have a quick tour of what RStudio looks like. So we get our menu, we'll just click through next, decide on where we want to save, and it will run through. So once we've done that, we can click finish, and now when we want to access R, we just go straight to RStudio. We don't need to see that very simple one that we saw before. So RStudio is made up of these 4 different panels. And so you can see immediately there's a lot more information. Here in the bottom left is something that looks like what we had before with the command prompt. In the bottom right, we've got these tabs, which we will explore further in future videos, but it has help, plots, and packages. In the top right is where we will see the variables that we have stored. Again, we will see more of this in the next video. In the top left, we have the text editor. So one of the really nice things with RStudio is that you can type in your code and then you can save it there in the text editor. And just through the push of a button, you can then send it down to the command prompt. So you'll see it running in the panel in the lower left, but you can work on your code and just be typing it out in the box there in the upper left. And so that's where you will see a lot of the code. When you open a .r file, which is the type of text file that is used for saving R code, that is where we will see the text from our file. If you download the coursecode.r file from SkillShare, then you will be able to open it up and you'll see the code that we're going to be using there. Thanks for watching this video. Please like and subscribe to support more academic content for Masters and PhD students who are embarking on their research journey. Also, see below the video for links to our YouTube, Facebook community and SkillShare.